Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gens Before Friends. This is, I believe, episode 20.
Oh my gosh, wow.
I
Ooh,
know.
Really? 20?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. I was checking my folders and I was like, oh, yeah, it's a 20. If not, we'll have to edit this out.
Right?
Okay,
No,
say
it
all
is
the numbers
20.
between 15 and 20 just in case we need to sub them in real quick.
It is. It is. Because the
Okay.
last thing we talked about
Wow.
was the blood moon and all that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and the My Little
Yeah.
Pony, yeah, all that stuff
Yeah,
was happening.
twins, rework, dev
Twin,
updates, all that stuff.
yeah.
Oh, yep, it is 20.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm
look at
Mo-
us go.
I know. I'm Mockingbird. I'm here with my lovely co-host Morbid Plum
Hello.
and Queen AMG.
Good morning
Good
slash afternoon slash evening.
breakfast for lunch, Queen
Yes,
AMG.
yes. I've been up for all of an hour and a half.
Nice.
And it's 2:40 in the afternoon. So we are going to be talking about MMR today, or skill-based
Yay.
matchmaking. Yay-ish. Yes. So we
Yeah.
wanted to kind of talk about this topic because it comes up quite a bit in DVD. And I want to give like a brief history and go over what we used to have. So it's kind of the history of MMR along with what we have now. Before 2021 or September 2021, your MMR was based on your rank, and you'll find your rank up in the upper right hand corner of the game. This is how matchmaking was done when I first started playing. I think when we all started playing. So, and
Yeah.
this was also based with the Emblem System. But every month there would be rank reset on the 13th, and basically, like for the whole month, you would like rank up, rank up, and then there'd be rank reset, and then you get put in the big pool of everyone all together, new players, experienced players. You'd all be in a pool together, and it was chaos and a lot
Hmm.
of fun, usually.
Yeah.
But that was how rank worked, and we still have rank reset now, but it's just for blood points, right? Let's talk about the emblem system because the emblem system is really what determined your ranking and how high up on or how fast you ranked up. And this emblem system is still used today, just not for matchmaking. So the emblem scores from lowest to highest, you had bronze, silver, gold, and iridescent. And you could also get no emblems if you just did absolutely nothing in a category. So let's go through the different categories of the emblems for Survivor and Killer. So first Survivor, you have Lightbringer, and this is your objective. So repairing gens, cleansing totems, and opening the exit gates are all objective. The Unbroken emblem, this is survival. And so there's different scoring, but to get an iridescent, you have to escape without going into the dying state. So
Oh,
basically, you're never down by the killer.
wow.
Gold is going into the dying state once, and the other emblems are earned by not dying for a certain amount of time. And then benevolence is the next emblem, and this is your altruism one. This is rescuing survivors off the hook, healing, taking protection hits. And these I did not know. Rescuing survivors from the killer's grasp, or invading the killer into hitting a survivor while carrying a survivor. So it does also go under altruistic actions. And then evader is staying hidden from the killer and winning chases or losing chase. And also, this includes stunning killer with the pallets, which I did not know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So if you want that evader up, start stunning the killer.
That's
Interesting.
turning the
Okay.
killer.
Let's see. And then the emblems for killer, we have gatekeeper, which this is slowing down generators, and also the number of gens not completed, and whether the exit gates are opened. And then the vow is your sacrifice and killing survivors, and this is death by sacrificing, bleeding out, mori, bear traps were included, and also disconnects. So this is how skull merchants get their high to
That's
fan
why
out
he's number
emblem.
one right now.
He's
Stop disconnecting, guys. Don't give her the emblem.
I
Don't give
mean,
her the win.
everyone's dying on hook anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter. So, and then there's also the malicious emblem, and this is preventing altruistic actions and interrupting survivors. So, interrupting like a heal, survivors healing, doing gens probably goes under this, but yeah, like interrupting the survivor actions. And then the last emblem for killer is chase, and this is of course chasing and finding survivors. Before our current MMR system, you would earn emblems, and this would equate to pips. Okay, so you could D-pip, you could safety pip, which means you don't go up or down. You could have a single pip or a double pip. And pipping would increase your rank, and the rank is how you're matched for games. So basically, if you got so many pips, I think it was like 4 pips, you moved up like a level in the rank. But now in the game currently, this system is purely used for blood points, right? We have rank reset. You have a rank. I didn't mention this at the beginning. You have a rank for survivor, for overall. All your survivors are the same rank, because with survivor, there's no individual like skills or anything, right? They're all the same. They're shells, yes. You have a rank for killer as well. And so when rank reset happens, you get so many blood points based on your rank. So the higher the rank, more blood points you get. And that's how it's used now. And also in this last update, you can no longer DPIP. So you don't have to worry about losing those blood points, I guess. And there's a lot of controversy on the DPIPing thing. Some people care, some people don't. But we're not going to really. I mean, we could talk about it a little bit, but
Yeah, I feel like it's meh.
yeah.
I feel like that goes into a whole other thing about casual DBD versus competitive DBD. So
Yeah.
let's just stick
Well,
MMR
we're going to get into that kind of talk also with the new
a
MMR
little
system.
bit, yeah.
But I mean, there's good and bad things with the DPIP. I've seen. I mean, you can find all the opinions on Twitter and all that. But that's what's in the update now. You can no longer DPIP. Let's also talk about the issues with the emblem system, because this is going to kind of move into what we have now. Why did they change the MMR system? There were complaints that it wasn't consistent all the time. And also, there was a lot of complaints about rank reset, like we talked about earlier, where everyone got dumped in together. And so I think a lot of veteran players got kind of sick and tired of playing with like new players, right? And then the other main complaint I saw was that if you played the game enough, you could get the red rank, which is the highest, regardless of skill. And I can attest to that. When I first started playing the game, I played it a lot, like almost every day. And if you just bust out gens, because I mean, when you start playing the game, you don't know how to loop, right? You don't know the maps. You're still learning everything. But if you can just do like a couple of the emblems really well, like unhooking and healing people and gens, you can still rank up. If you play the game enough, you will rank up. And so basically, there was the opinion that red rank should equal like really high skill. And that wasn't really the case if you played enough. The DBD player base wanted more balanced games consistently, right? And that's what kind of led the devs to develop the MMR system we have now. Do we want to talk anything about our previous emblem system, or should we move on to what we have now?
I just want to say, like, when I first started playing, I enjoyed the chaos of not knowing what was going to happen in matches.
Same.
Especially since I was playing people who were more skilled than me. I feel like they trying to correct something, they overcorrected it, and I feel like a lot of people are like, I wish it was back the way it was with that little bit of chaos. Because kind of no matter what, back in the days when you were trying to get to red rank, as you moved up, you were going to be playing against better people for the most part as it was. If not, you would have those matches where, yes, 1 or 2 people who, you had your blindettes or people who obviously just hiding the whole match. Again, because you can rank up and not have a lot of skill. But for the most part, I feel like after a couple days after rank reset, you were playing people somewhat equivalent to yourself. Whereas now I feel like you're either playing people who you can run rings around or who can run rings around you.
True.
Yeah, those are my thoughts. So I miss the chaotic old days.
The old rank reset.
Yeah, the old ones.
Yeah. It was nice though because everybody got reset at some point. So you were like, "Oh, hey, we can start all over."
Yeah.
And you can kind of gauge, like, if I just want to be super casual, then I'm not going to sweat it out in my matches. And
Yeah.
then they
Mhm.
tend to be super casual, whereas like now I feel like no matter what, it's just you're either all getting out or you're all dying, or someone's going for a hatch, and there's no in between, and it's very stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely when rank reset would hit, it was definitely more casual because it
Yeah,
just like you didn't know what you're gonna get. It was like a
yeah,
mystery. You could be getting new killers, like as playing Survivor. You might be getting new killers, experienced killers, and then like if stuff happened, if like you had other like random survivors that were terrible or that were new, it was just like, well, it's just how the game is. To me, it
hmm
wasn't like a huge deal. It was just like part of the chaos, and but I think some of the community was frustrated by that.
Yeah, for sure.
They didn't want to get put into a match with like a survivor that's like played like less than 100 hours, right? Brand new to the game. That is kind of the roadmap of how we have what we have now. So
Oh joy.
let's
Look
talk
what you
about what we have
did.
now.
I know. Look
You're
what you did.
complaining, and
People are now wishing Red Rank was back.
I know. I mean, you still have the ranks. They just don't mean
They
what
don't mean
they don't mean
anything.
what they used
Yeah.
to mean. They just
Yeah.
it's really rank now is just showing how much you play the game.
Yeah.
So if you have a really high rank, you're probably playing a lot of hours into the game. And I couldn't find the date of like when they started working on the matchmaking system. I know they like announced it and talked about it a bit before they implemented it.
hmm
I think they worked on it for probably a year or two. I couldn't find an exact day of when like they initially announced it. But we do know when it was implemented on
Yep.
September 8th, 2021.
Yep.
A new MMR was put into place. And in this MMR system, you don't know what it is. It is hidden.
hmm
You cannot see the number. So you have a hidden MMR score. And now for MMR score goes across again. For all survivors, it's the same, right? Like Queen said, your survivors are shells. There's
hmm
nothing special about each individual survivor, but your killers have their own MMR since the killers vary in strengths and
hmm
skill that's required to play them, right? They're all different. And we do have some information on the new MMR system because it's been data mined. And so there have been other content
Yay.
creators that have made videos on it. It's on the wiki, so you can find plenty of like information. We're going to go over not like every little detail, but most of the how it works. And of course, the devs talked about MMR during their Dev Q&A live streams when they implemented it,
Oh
which,
boy.
we were talking about for recording the hockey analogy. This was the days of the hockey analogy,
DBD is like hockey.
Oh God.
which it's not. It made no
Mm.
sense. And this is how Dowsy lost his Twitch shirts back in the
Yeah,
day. We love you,
I
Dowsy,
forgot about
even though
that.
you don't
Dowsy
play
took one for the
even
team.
though Dowsy doesn't play DVD anymore because
I
the devs
know.
treated him so bad. But yeah, the dev live stream when they explained all the MMR stuff was kind of
It was a dumpster
it
fire.
was a
That's
dumpster
what
fire.
it
I was gonna say
was.
nightmare. It's just
Yeah, it was proof that once again the devs don't understand the mechanics of their own game
yes.
or how their player base views the mechanics of their game, making off the wall analogies that have nothing to do with validating the concerns they were getting from their players. I felt like that whole DBD's like hockey analogy was just talking down to the player base
Oh
the whole
yes,
time.
that
Oh
particular
yeah.
dev definitely
Yeah,
talked down to. I mean, this dev's not there anymore. Y'all can all breathe a
yeah.
sigh of relief. His name was Patrick. I don't know his last name, but Patrick.
Yep,
But
it was
like,
Patrick.
yes, it was Patrick. Apparently, if you credit at this point in 2021, I think behaviors lightened up a bit, but I feel like this was during DB's like serious phase, right? They put this
hmm
MMR system in there. This is when they started to move more competitive, I feel like. And so yeah, Dowsy lost his Twitch shirts because he
Yeah.
talked about how it's not like hockey, and it's like, and he wasn't the only one that was saying this. I don't know why they picked on him, but and he didn't really care. I think he thought it was funny and petty of them.
I think so too.
But
His video is hilarious, and I believe it's still on
mhm.
his YouTube.
Oh
If you
yeah,
just look it up, it's so funny.
it is so funny. But let's talk about what MMR is like now. So DVD uses the ELO rating system, which is used in other games like chess and other popular video games like Overwatch and Valorant.
Fancy.
I know. I don't know much about the ELO ranking. I was trying to look into it a bit, but it's basically like a skill it's skill based, kind of. We shall see. But a lot of other games use it. And like I said, each survivor has, all survivors have their own MMR. Each individual killer has their own MMR. But there is an MMR range for killers, even if you play a new killer, because the game sees that you have experience in the game. So you won't be playing like with baby survivors, even if it's a brand new killer, if that makes sense. There's kind of a range it keeps you in if you have experience in the game. Let's talk about how you raise your MMR as killer, because like in the dev Q&A, kills equals skills, right? So the MMR system is basically based off kills and escapes. For killers, if 3 or more kills is a win, 2 is a draw, and of course less than that is a loss. Okay. So kills equals skills. So if you want to up your MMR as killer, tunnel and kill everyone.
Hold on.
Oh my God. We're supposed to be playing later. What are you doing?
Well, they buffed DS. We're okay. We're okay now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Run off the record. Anyway. Well, that was it. Patrick said that, like, skills equals skills. Is it really a skill play if you die? Anyway. Now, for Survivor. Survivors, it's kind of a little more complicated because when you play this game, it's asymmetrical, right? It's a 4v1. Well, the MMR looks at each survivor individually. It doesn't measure in teamwork at all or helping a teammate. So it's basically like each individual survivor against the killer, if that makes sense. So if you loop the killer for the majority of the game and die because at the end you get face camped or tunneled out, your MMR goes down. If you die, your MMR goes down. So it doesn't look at teamwork at all, even though you're supposed to be working as a team. Trying to save your teammate in the end game, trading with them is going to be a loss for you. So for Survivor, a win is escaping through the exit gate. Hatch is actually a draw.
Really?
It is not a win, it's a draw. And then, of course, if you die, it's a loss. So those are kind of the conditions.
Hatch not be a win because that's you literally racing against the killer.
I don't know. That's how it is.
Behind, so teammates getting out the door and you're kind of self-sacrificing, hoping you're going to find Hatch.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they're assuming like everyone else is dead, so the team sucks, I guess. But that's not always the case. I mean, we're going to talk at the end. We'll talk about the issues with this whole like system, but I also want to go over the skill brackets for MMR. So there's a point system for MMR. So 650 points are newcomers, and they are in the what's called the testing skill bracket. So this is your brand new players. Once you move out of that, in the 900 to 1200 range is your low skill and casual players. 1200 to 1600 is the medium bracket, which there's a variety of skilled players in there. And then 1600 plus is high MMR. And there's a soft cap of 2100, which all this probably doesn't mean too much because we can't see any of these scores, right? But this is kind of how it's broken out. And actually, a few months ago, DBD did mess with the MMR and the caps. And because a lot of content creators reported on this, and I believe DBD also affirmed that they did raise the soft cap. So lobbies were kind of a mess and very mixed. And I will actually argue, I feel like since they came out with this last update, it's the same. I think something's wrong with MMR, but we can talk about
that. No, I would agree. Just the amount of matches that it really comes down to, if we're playing, whether we're playing duos or trios, it comes down to who we're going to let have hatch. We're not getting escapes like we used to.
No, but I mean, recently with this last update, like playing solo, and then Morbid and I played a few nights ago, and we had like baby killers, like killers that didn't know what they were doing, and then like experienced killers. Like it was kind of all over the place. Like, and I've had that because I played solo this last week, and it was very mixed bag, which usually it hasn't been before this update. It's been pretty consistent. Like, like Queen's saying, like very sweaty. It's a hatch game,
You mean
Morbid and I had a
strange things
spirit,
have been happening since the update?
that didn't know like how to play the killer,
How to
and
play?
Yeah.
you
It
had
was
she had
weird.
rancor on you, Morbid, and like she didn't like realize that you were exposed and she should go for you, she could more you
Yeah.
like because I was like, I'll protect you because you had to open the exit gate, and then
I
like
know,
she
'cause I
like
was
and
like
she totally left you, like I don't
I
know
was
where she
freaking
went.
out. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna kill me like instantaneously. And then
Did
we
you
got
get the
out of the
exit gate
game.
open?
She
We
did.
did.
Oh yeah, you've been trying that one for
But
a
she was
while.
also face camping you. It's like she didn't know about the anti-camp
Yeah.
either.
Which
Like
I
That's
have never
weird.
been face camped with that new system, and she just stood there,
she stood
and
there.
it was so weird.
Yeah. It was so that's what I'm saying. I feel like with this last update, something's up with MMR. I don't know if it's like reset in some way and so it's having to like recalibrate like your MMR or what, but it's been all over the place. So a couple other things to mention with MMR. So there is loss prevention for killer. So this kind of goes back to like them staying within kind of a certain like range MMR, even if it's a new killer you're trying. It's like that overall with the brackets. So even if you lose multiple matches, you don't go below your bracket. You're kind of stuck there once you're in it. And you'll never rank back down to the newbie bracket, the 650 point bracket. You will never lose enough matches to get all the way back down to there. That's kind of just reserved for the brand new players, and then they'll move out of that. Yeah, so you can lose multiple matches and still be in the same bracket for a really long time. Another thing that goes into MMR is the trial length. So the longer the match goes on for survivors is good, and for killers it's bad. So the MMR system looks at it and it caps at 10 minutes. So even if you're a survivor and you die, if you get past the 10-minute mark, you lose less points in your MMR for having the trial last longer. And of course, as killer, you would get more points if the trial doesn't last as long. But there's some other stuff with MMR, with the MMR system. So it's not just about the skill brackets also. It's also about speed. DVD doesn't want you waiting a really long time for a match. It will expand the pool of matches available the longer you wait. So if you're solo queuing it and you get put in the lobby and everyone's ready depped, you might be playing with people of other brackets of MMR, probably people higher than you, if that makes sense. So if you're within a certain bracket for MMR and you wait, it's going to start expanding the pool, and it's going to expand that pool to other brackets of MMR because the system values, right now, it values speed over accuracy. And then one other thing. Well, actually, a few other things. Next thing. According to the wiki, the MMR system does look at Swift. So if you are playing with friends, for each teammate that escapes, it increases your gain towards MMR upon escaping and reduces losses towards MMR for dying. For each teammate that dies, it reduces your gain on MMR if you escape, and increase losses towards MMR upon dying, if that makes sense. So it does look at kind of if your teammates get out or not, but I don't know by how many points.
Interesting.
So it does look at Swift, but as far as solo queue, but still, like as a team aspect, it doesn't look at the whole team together. There are let's talk about the problems with MMR. A lot of these.
I thought we were already doing that.
We are already doing that. But so Hens, if you're familiar with Hens, he has some very good videos about MMR. I pulled a lot of information from his video and from the wiki, and he had some good criticism about MMR. So I don't want to like take his thoughts. These were stuff he pointed out, that this MMR system punishes aggressive survivor players that take chase and rewards stealthy players or those that just do gens. So basically, people that are more skilled at looping and are keeping the killer's attention are going to suffer MMR wise versus the blendette hiding in the corner, right? I guess the question is, should this game look at MMR more through the lens of like chases and outsmarting the killer than just doing skill checks on gens, right?
Well, I would think so because think about it, how we play. When we whether we're doing duos or trios, when we initially go into a map, one, our first goal is to figure out who it is, right? And then we go across the map, try to figure out what gens are going to do, like find our 3 gen. And we're essentially kind of waiting for someone to take chase to know that we're safe
Yeah.
to start doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I feel like we all have very different play styles. I will admit I am the more stealthy one. I'm trying to not get caught, but at the same time, I feel like in my play style, the killer gets to me and I hide. They can't find me. They're wasting time trying to find me. And I'm moving around as they're trying to find me, touching my gen, getting it back up so they know I'm still there. That's just how I play. I'd rather do that than loop because I don't loop well. And, I've had success in that or looping. I feel like mocking you can be a little more aggressive in regards to you loop very well. So you'll take the, killer on a merry chase and the morbid. I think you're somewhere in between. You know what I mean? like, but I
Yeah.
think there's values to all the play styles, whatever it is. I don't think it's fair that, for example, we've all had I think each of one of us has had at least a 3 gen chase before. And then we either got camped or we died. But that's 3 gens and we don't get credit for any of that for, leading the killer away so our teammates can do stuff. Because the whole reason you're able to do gens for the most part, unless the killer is just sitting there, is you have someone distracting them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason you can sit in peace and do gens. And we do sometimes, if there's a long chase going on, we'll try to take it from that person, lithe, in the middle of it, try to take a hit, try to take their attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's all on the killer whether or not they bait and they go for somebody else to give that person a rest to heal and maybe touch a gen. But the whole reason you can do gens because the killer is distracted. And it's not fair that that person doing the distraction is not getting any points for that or it's not counting towards anything. Whether you're running them or whether you're playing hide and seek with them.
Yeah, that
Like it's still valid play styles.
yeah, that
I
was one
agree.
of the complaints about the emblem system, I think,
Mhm.
because you didn't get points for objective. So you would get a low emblem
Mhm.
on objective, while you might have a high, emblem on
Yeah.
chase because you're the one, leading the killer
Yeah.
around. And so, but then like with the new emblem system, it doesn't look at any of the individual skills, where the emblem system
Yeah.
was probably a little better, at least giving you credits for
Yeah.
you did gens or you took a little bit of chase, like you did healing, you unhooked
Or
people.
you were stealthy.
Yeah.
Or, like you were in the killer's terror radius for so long.
Yeah,
Um,
because while there are these little things that adjust your points, like the Swift stuff and like how long the trial goes through, ultimately it looks at if you escape or die. And as killer, it looks at how many kills you get. You need 3 kills at least for it to be a win. So it's kills or escapes. And that's pretty much the basic of what the new MMR system looks at. I think the big complaint also when this was initially announced where like people were like, you worked on this for how long and this is all it is,
mhm.
because they acted like it was so complicated and
Oh
so
yeah.
hard to do this MMR system. And what did it end up being? Kills or escapes. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's
That's it.
so many variables with this game. I can't believe it's just broken down to those 2 things, right? If you escape or how many kills you get. Because they're like, how many perks are in this game? How
No,
many how many killers are in
50,000.
this game? How many maps are in this game? Some killers are very map dependent. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's like if you're playing a certain killer and you get a map that doesn't work with your killer power, yeah, you're probably not going to do very well and you're going to get punished for that. But then there's also perks. You have to look at all the perks. You have a killer that brings in all gen perks. It's going to be like impossible for like survivors to do gens. There's just like so many variables to this game. And then to not look at any of the stuff the emblem system looked at. What are your
I
thoughts, Morbid?
agree. No, I agree. I think Queen Amg hit it on the head. Was like, there's so many, like you said, there's so many variables, and they literally focus on 2 things. Like, yeah, you could be great at escaping, you could be great at killing, but what about the people who are in between who just like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna get on a gen and I'm going to stay on the gen no matter what, and you don't get rewarded for that. And I don't think that's fair. I think if you play the game how it's meant to be played, you should be rewarded for playing the game how it's meant to be played.
Yeah. Or they need to check other things. For example, like distortion, right? In order to have tokens, you have to be in the killer's terror radius, right? Like if you lose your tokens, you get them back up. So you're playing like that's not super safe. So whether you're being chased or whether you're being stealthy, like you're still in a not safe area. Like why is there not points based on one, like how long your chase was or how many seconds or minutes you've been in chase total during that match, or how long you were in the killer's terror radius, whether that's doing a gen or unhooking somebody or doing a totem or just being stealthy like I like to do. And once they kick the gen, you put it back up and you go hide again and put it back up. And they're wasting their time trying to find you. But I'm still like, I am in a not safe. As a survivor, I am not safe by being in the killer's terror radius, no matter what it is I am doing. Stuff like that. Yeah, sure, gen credit, but a lot of the times I feel like there's always someone that ends up doing more gens than somebody else, and that's great. You're helping your team. But again, the only reason that's happening is because the rest of your team is distracting or taking chase or, again, playing hide and go seek, or they're drawing. The killer's not by you for a reason unless they're just sitting in the middle of the field,
Yeah.
There's so many factors they didn't think of, which,
Yeah.
and again, I know there's many different play styles, but there has to be a way to be able to, well, we already know they can track, how long you've been in chase because they have, dailies, be in chase for 120 seconds.
Oh, true.
Or we already know because there's emblems that, or they used to be, like you can max out being like in the killer's terror radius. Like they can already track that. So why is that not part of our ranking as well, other than just escapes or not? It doesn't make sense. There's so many different factors that they can go on because sometimes you can have an amazing match and everyone dies. But it was still an amazing, like it was an amazing level match. You had fun. There was give and take on both sides. Just because you died doesn't mean you didn't play a good game.
True.
Yeah, I had that recently. I was telling Queen about I did Adept night this week, and like they got down to 1 gen. It was kind of a 3 gen. I ultimately won, but like it was like tough, but it was a good game. And even one of the other survivors in the chat was like, that was a fun match. Like, because we were pretty equally skilled. Some of what I find in my killer matches, it's kind of a mixed bag with survivors though, because I also did the twins Adept this week, and there was one baby Jill. Like I went up to her. I was telling Queen about this. I went up to her with Victor, and she like did not know. She was just still on the gen, like, and not just once, twice. I
What's
downed.
this thing coming towards me?
Well, see, I was trying to do twins Adept because I was hoping people don't know how to play against twins because no one plays twins. But, it's just, I feel like the killer side, there's kind of a mixed bag in my lobbies of like, there's usually like 2 really strong survivors, maybe one in the middle, and then like sometimes a baby or sometimes another one in the middle. But so I think the MMR system, that's kind of what they're going for, is the good match that's like a back and forth. But it's just so hard because it doesn't look at any of the individual kind of skills, the chasing, you can do gens. And this is kind of goes back to like a little bit to the old system with red ranking. Like, yeah, if you just sit there and do gens, you can definitely like, rank up and get your emblems up and pip up still. So there's no depipping. Like if all you want is blood points at the end of rank.
If you just want to kill.
And then like I think we've definitely talked about like we feel like we die all the time. It feels like, because I don't know what bracket we are really stuck in. If I don't know. I've been playing this game since 2019.
Where I think we know we are, but we don't want to be there.
And high MMR, I don't know if we're high MMR. I don't know if we're quite. I don't know.
Because if you think about it, a lot of times when we're doing our duos and trios, if they are going based off of Swift, we're ensuring that at least one of us escape, or we're ensuring 2 of us escape. We do a lot of self-sacrificing. We're like, okay, we'll run them to a corner, and then you guys try to get out, like pop the last gen, get out, or so-and-so is going to get hatched. We're going to make sure it happens. I feel like if they're measuring that, then we probably have an equal number of escapes between us because we kind of switch off. Because one of us is always getting out. If we are not high MMR, then we're the
They're in
next
the
bracket
middle.
down. Yeah. How our matches feel
Is high MMR.
is high MMR.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that because like we have lost several matches, and even like the whole team dying, done that like several matches in a row, and
Yeah.
I never feel a difference in the matches.
Yeah.
They all feel the same because
Mhm.
everyone's running the same perks. And we're
Yeah,
like, oh, this again with this perk again with pain res.
yeah, that is the
you
other
know.
complaint. This goes into is DBD casual or competitive? And I
Yeah.
would say since they put in MMR, it's definitely this was kind of my opinion, the beginning of the push towards competitive the game. Now you should be anyways against players of your own skill level, and the matches should feel consistent. But I don't know. I guess the debate is that a good thing? Because DVD used to be considered like a party game, like very casual.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like I was watching it was Rapid Mains. I was watching his video about when they first implemented this. So, his videos from a few years ago, and he's like, DBD's a party game. I'm like, oh, I miss when DBD was a party game. It's not a party game anymore. Like
Oh no.
they've taken so much fun out of this game. That's like a whole other topic too, like some of the fun mechanics and stuff. But yeah, this was kind of the beginning of let's be serious about DVD and be competitive. Yeah, I feel like this was DVD's like serious phase. The devs were really serious about the game. And like that's why Dowsey lost his Switch shirts. Like they couldn't take criticism. Like
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't feel like they're quite that way now. I think there's been some new people in the company and in different positions. Like I don't feel like it's still that way, but at this time in 2021, they were like super serious about the game, super serious about not being criticized. Don't say anything negative. I think this was the beginning of the competitive push. I think we can probably agree DVD is more competitive than casual.
Yeah.
Well, it
But I
feels
think the
that way.
community wants it to be more casual now. I think
I
we've
think
had a
there's
taste of the
yeah.
competitive and everyone hates it.
Well, yeah, but there's also like you said, there's mechanics that used to make the game fun that they've taken out. For example, like burning wraith or some of the different texts and stuff you used to be able to do, which we would argue is skill based, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've taken some of that stuff out. So even the community now is like, oh, it's like you're giving everyone like training wheels, like you're taking away the
Yes.
mechanics of the game, but it's I feel like we're in this really weird like limbo in between where you have them getting rid of these mechanics. So like back in the day, if you don't know, like if you went up against was it Hag?
Ag,
And her
Wraith, Nurse.
traps, you could only get rid of her traps by burning them with a flashlight. And
Mm-hmm.
please,
Oh,
who
that's
brings a
right.
flashlight? No one in our slip.
No.
Yeah.
That was the only way to get rid of it. Now you can wipe them away. And so it did make like a level of once you saw a hag, everyone was running to see if there was a flashlight so you can burn the traps away. Like it was a whole level
Yeah.
of playing. And now they made it to where you can like wipe them away. And you used to be able to like burn Wraith, when he was invisible, and then burn the nurse out of her blinks.
Mm-hmm.
And which all is a level of skill. You're using a flashlight is something you have to learn to do. So they're getting rid of all these different mechanics that people used to use. And so the community is like, well, you're taking away the things that we had learned from the game. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're giving everyone like safety pedals. And you're doing it to make it like either. I wouldn't say they're trying to make it more casual and less competitive. I just feel like I don't know if that's them trying to make it a more level playing field by getting rid of all the nuances that made the game more interesting or made the matches more intense.
I
It's kind of weird. Like they're trying to balance it, but I'm not sure if they're trying to balance it in the right way.
I think they're trying to balance it for new players.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make the game more appealing for new players because new players are going to put more of their money into the game.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel
Because
that too.
as like we all own every DLC minus Skull Merchant, and
Minus one, yeah.
yeah, just a Skull. We have the survivors, not Skull Merchant.
Yeah. She needs to
So
sit in the corner. She knows what she did.
She doesn't
she
think about her
she wasn't
choices.
Predator. That's
Yeah.
what it was. I would have bought her if she looked like Predator. But anyway,
Yeah.
that whole theory. But the speculation I've heard is that they're trying to balance it around more new players, and like, but even like fun stuff that didn't have any advantage gameplays wise, like Sky Billy and Space
Okay,
Billy.
Sky Billy, Space Billy.
You were not winning games launching Hillbilly into the air, okay? Like, it was a skill. You could only do it on certain maps and certain spots. It was just a fun kind of, not quite a glitch, but like thing people found that they could do.
Yeah.
And they got rid of it. For what?
Yeah.
Like,
Now there's like invisible walls everywhere. Certain
yeah,
levels of
there's
map.
also, yeah, like there's invisible walls on like RPD. So like you
Mhm.
can't launch. So now you can't launch like Victor and Demogorgon, Hillbilly of certain points, go over things. Like it's just really strange because I feel like they're nerfing the killers in a way and to make it easier for new players instead of letting players take the time to learn the skills.
Mhm.
And then they recently got rid of Hug Tech for Blight, right? That was what came out in this last update as well.
Mhm.
And theory,
Yeah.
speculation is they'll get rid of Hug Tech for Wesker. Wesker also has a
Mhm.
Hug Tech ability, dashing against objects and around objects and stuff. And that's the theory of what's going to go next. And so it's just weird because if you want players to keep playing your game, shouldn't they like take the time to learn? Like, won't they play longer if they have to learn certain skills? I don't know. It's just kind of
You would
weird.
think.
You would think so. I don't know if it's just to get people to buy more DLCs, like to get new players to come in, spend more money on the game. Because there's like how many killers in the game now? Are we up to 30? I don't even know.
Yeah, probably.
Think we're in the 30s.
Like it's a lot. I can't even imagine buying this
Thirty.
game. I can't. Can y'all imagine like as a new player buying the game right now and how much content's in the game?
Oh my god,
It would be
no.
so overwhelming.
Even like survivors, I'd be like, who do I play? Like,
Yeah. Well, because that was the whole thing about DS too, because they just buffed DS back up a bit, but it's behind a paywall. It's behind Laurie Strode, right? So
oh, that's true.
the best, one of the best anti-tunneling perk, I would say decisive and off the record. Now off the record is on Zarina, which is not licensed, but
Mhm.
those are basically your best two anti-tunneling perks, and one of them is behind a paywall. Now, when they
Yeah.
did buff DS back, they did put it in the shrine, so you could get it without buying Lori. There's so much content, like I wouldn't even know where to start. I thought there was a lot of content when I started playing it, and I played
Yeah.
it. I think one of the new chapters that came out when I played it was like the Plague and Jane. It was like way
I
back
think you
when.
started in like 2018
Maybe
because
the
Morgan and I were
2018.
2019.
The
Yeah, it was
2018. I
like
thought I was
right.
28. I don't know.
It was right
No,
before. It was
we're
like
2019.
I
I'm
think
pretty sure
yeah.
2018.
It was
Ghosty was
pandemic
like
era.
the first like anniversary chapter I was around for. I guess let me put it that way. I'm trying to pull up like their DLCs.
Oh no, you are 2019, and
Mm-hmm.
me and Morbid are 2020. So we
That's
started
what I kind of
playing around
thought.
pandemic. I
Let me
would say
see.
like even when I started playing again, I probably didn't get the hang of what I was doing for like a good month and a half. Because there is so much you have to learn, how the
Mm-hmm.
game
there's a lot.
works, who has what perks, trying to figure out what you like to do for builds, trying to like learn call outs, what certain things mean,
And then if you look at Killer,
recognizing, yeah,
there's so
even
much
like
other stuff too.
recognizing terror radiuses. I still to this day get Pyramid Head and Deathslinger mixed up with their terror radiuses because they're very similar, at least to my ears. And then knowing what perks, and that's what we do. Like, so when we play our matches and we log in, and I know I mentioned that I like to hide a lot, but essentially what happens is because of my perks, I stay put. I look for the 3 gen. I'm waiting for my alert to go off to say what the killer is. Like, I'm trying to get to high ground and give, you know, the ladies a layout of the map while they're going out as well. Like, we all play differently. I'm call out person for the most part.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's saying like, well, there's, Mocking tends to run things where she needs to find totems, and she's like, well, there's totem here and totem here, so we know like if a hex goes off or we see a hex pop up where totems are. Morbid always seems to end up with a rando
I do.
following her everywhere.
But
I'm
you
like,
proved
"Can I
thyself.
help
It's okay.
Yeah, so then she's like, well, I'm with Rando, and Rando's doing this, and Rando's doing that, and I'm trying to save Rando.
That's why I also run Bond. I only run Bond on all my. Sometimes I run it with us if we were rando, but I run it on my
Yeah.
solo queue too because it's like I can see what everyone is doing, and that gives me idea where the killers do. I see these people
Yeah.
running off, running, and someone vaulting. I'm like, okay, they're being chased.
They're being
So
chased. Like, yeah, you try to learn the nuances of the games. Even like when I play other people that aren't like the normal people, I'm like, well, they have lethal or they have this, and people are like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, oh, I have a certain language that I speak with people who play who understand. When I'm saying it's Chain Daddy, it's Pinhead.
Yeah, we have our
Like
own
there's
Mhm.
yeah, but there's
thing.
a lot to learn, and it can be very overwhelming, and I think it's very turn offish. So I get that they may be trying to make mechanic wise easier for people to play, but at the same time, people who've been here a lot, it's like, well, you're kind of taking away some things we're proud of that we've learned skill wise. But then like things that they should be easier, for example, like when they have done like the roulettes and you get random perks, they don't tell you what they are. Like you just have to know from memory. Like so
I'm
there's
like, what
certain
is
things like
that?
they're trying to make easier, but obvious things that they should make easier, they're not. So then I just get confused.
I believe now you can look at your perks if you hit escape. They added that.
Oh.
Oh,
See,
nice.
why would I
Okay.
want to hit escape and not be looking? I'm
Like,
being
and then you
chased by
hover.
a
Well,
killer.
before when you first load in, this will be good when we do. So they are putting in perk roulette coming up.
Yeah.
So or chaos. I forgot what they're calling it.
Yeah, it was
Um,
chaos something.
it's
I
perk
can't.
roulette. If they've had it in some
Yeah.
of the rifts, I really
Yeah.
love it because
Yeah,
it's
we
chaos.
like
I
it.
want the chaos. Okay, I want this game to be fun. Okay, I'm done with
Me
competitive.
too.
I have played this game for too long and life's too short. Let's just have fun. Let's do stupid stuff. And I think they are trying to move more casual. I
Mhm.
do feel like they are trying to move that way with all of the different modes they're coming out with. The lights out, the My
Mhm.
Little Oni. If the My Little Oni wasn't casual, I don't know what it is. Like
That was the best one so far. The lights out terrified me. I didn't like it.
I didn't
Yeah, that
like
was
Lights
scary.
Out. It was very killer sided. We've
It
talked
was
about
very
Lights
killer
Out.
sided.
It was
Yeah.
killer
My
sided for
Little
sure.
Oni,
Was
pure
That
just
was
funny.
chaos. Yeah, it
it
was
was
just
cute
funny.
and fun, and it was great.
And then I think the perk randomizer one will be fun as well. So, and I kind of hope they'll eventually put that one permanently, but we'll see how it goes. At least they're trying some different stuff. So they're trying some different modes,
Mhm.
and I think that's a good thing because I think the issue again with this MMR system is the consistency of games, right? We always feel like we're getting
Mhm.
tunneled. It's really sweaty. And so the alternate game modes give you a break from the sweaty nature of the main gameplay. Because I don't know if they can fix it. And I don't think they're ever going to get rid of this MMR system. They had a lot of criticism when it was released, and their attitude towards it then was like, well, we've been working on this forever. We're not getting rid of it. And I think they do have a different mindset now because they did trash the Twins rework. We didn't really talk
Yeah.
about we did talk about the Twins rework in the developer update, but we haven't talked about it since it went live. PTB went live, and it was bad. I mean, you can go
Yeah.
watch any content creator cover that,
You can check the meme
especially
on our
like
Instagram.
yeah, it was
It was
wild, but they
horrible.
didn't put it in. They put in all the quality of life changes. That was good, and being able to recall Victor, that's good. They did put some good changes in for the Twins, but as far as their whole idea for a
They
rework,
redacted it.
they took it out. It didn't work, and I mean, this is a whole other issue, right? Of them not knowing how their game works, but
Yeah.
just to say they have gotten to where they're not so like married to their ideas that they'll put something in that's broken
Yeah.
anymore. I think they have gone better, and they've gone better to listening to feedback because it used to be also PTBs would be like they were just basically publicity, right? Here's our new chapter, and even if there was broken stuff, they would still push it through. But now they do listen to player feedback more, and they will postpone stuff. So they're getting better.
I wish they would just listen beforehand because everyone who saw that update knew it wasn't going to work.
Mhm.
And it was like, why didn't you ask beforehand? Because it's like a whole PTV was wasted with what we knew it wasn't going to work. It was just
Mm-hmm.
proof. Whereas you have, and this is also a whole other thing, your fog whispers, we're going to be going to that in probably another episode, or people who, even if they're not fog whisper, are prominent in the community and understand the mechanics of the killers that they main. Just asking them up front could have told you, and that would have wasted a lot of time, effort, and probably money on not doing something that wasn't going to work in the first place. That's just food for thought.
Agreed. Yeah, we'll get to. I think we are going to talk about fog whispers and
Yeah,
all that because I mean we mentioned Linksy I think in the last
we did. Yeah.
episode, and she's a twins main. It's like, and
Mhm.
she even had a video like a year ago talking about how
Mhm.
she would fix the twins.
Yeah.
And like you could just watch that video. I think she would have been fine if you stole her ideas. That's what she wanted you to do, was what she
Or
put in the video.
talk to her
Like,
beforehand.
I
Like
know.
the same thing with Otts, all the videos he's done with how to make killers or survivors or perks or maps or stuff better. Kind of nothing happens. I mean, you have the people like behavior. You have the people willing to do the legwork for you because they love the game
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yep.
want the game to be healthy and playable and approachable for new people to come in, which means that you essentially will be getting more income, right? Because we don't want the game to disappear, but you have a whole group of people who understand the ins and outs of your games, historically speaking, more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And want to see it thrive for the better. I think that's something they do need to work on. Like I feel like them doubling back because of the feedback they got to me is not sufficient enough. Reach out to your community, learn what they learn, just to make sure that when you do come out with stuff, we don't look at it and go like, you're kind of crazy for this. It's not going to work, only to be told, no, no, it'll work. And then like, oh yeah, okay, redacted. Because it did say
Yeah.
like in the update, redacted, redacted,
Yeah.
Yeah.
redacted,
All
It was a
the
redacted.
lot.
It was a lot of redacting. You wouldn't have to do that. You know, that was hours of manpower and you paying people to implement something that nothing good came of it.
no, it's so
Where
broken.
resources could have been put to better use.
Yeah, I think they have to get out of this mindset that they know better than the community. I mean, it is their
Hmm.
game. Like, technically, they could do whatever they want with their game. But I feel like at times they make these statements and it's just like, well, we know better. I think we saw a lot of that during like when they were doing those Q&A events and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we know better than the community. And it's like, no, y'all don't. Look
Yeah.
at all these reworks and things that have been broken, and everyone's like, I told you so. And then like I still think of how like Otts had the one video where he's like, I'm gonna stop making content on
I
suggestions
know.
because they don't listen, they don't care, they just have this mindset of we're just gonna do what we want to do. And I feel like, I'll reiterate, we love this game, but
We
also keep
do.
in mind this is going to be their 8th anniversary coming up.
Hmm.
That's
And if
true.
they want this game to keep thriving, they need to figure out what their community wants. And I think they're trying to figure that out again with the game modes. But if you want this game to last to like year 10, you're going to have to pay attention to your community and what they want and making sure this game doesn't get stale, because there's so many people leaving the game or
A
taking a
lot
break from
leaving.
the
Yeah.
game. And I'll even admit I've been playing the game less. I have been playing other games
Same.
because it's just so sweaty. And then like if every match feels the same, I'm like, I'm tired of like dying every round or struggling to get like a challenge done, getting slugged and tunneled. It's just like, this isn't fun. There are other games.
Same. Yeah.
There are
Same
plenty of
perks.
other same perks. Scourge hook, pain rest,
Score
every
took pain.
match.
Yeah, so
Oh my
remember when we're
gosh.
going in there and she was like, if it score took pain res, first person that goes down, she's like, I'm done. But it's true, like it's not fun for us because we've had it several times too where we've gotten the same killer back to back. And that was annoying because then they
Mm-hmm.
know our perks. And then we've had it to where this is a while back. We had a huntress who was playing super sweaty, and we ended up getting a really good play off her where like we got an unhook and I was able to get, a morbid up, and I ran her for a little bit and we got her the same exact match. The moment she got in there, the first thing she did, she ignored everyone else and tunneled me out.
Mm-hmm.
because of what I did in the previous match. So we have had back-to-back matches with people where whatever happened the first one, then they went and purposely didn't care about anybody else, tunneled that person out, which is
Then
not fun
no,
Yeah.
for the player right off the bat. I'm like, I'm so confused, and then we're like, oh my god, is this the same huntress?
it's
The
the
same
same.
huntress. So I just ran her as far as I could to the corner of the map while they split up and tried to do gens.
It's so strange. She
But
got less
yeah,
kills the second match, right? It was
yeah,
I
yeah,
because I think
because
yeah.
for most part
all
she was
she
so
did was
focused on
tunneled.
me. Yeah, I
So I
tried to
think
stay
we
afloat
got
as
two
long as
out,
I
didn't
could.
we? Yeah.
Yeah,
So like she actually like drew that match MMR
yeah.
wise, like because she just decided to tunnel because it was the same group. And she actually like I think killed all of us the first match. And it was
Hmm.
a fun match. It wasn't like a terrible match.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
It
we
was fun for
annihilated.
us
Yeah.
because we got up some interesting plays, but
Yeah.
because of that, it's just so weird that that's why I'm sometimes wondering, like, depending on the time of day when we play, like pools low, how are we getting these back to back killers? And we recognize them because of their play style. Even if they change who they're playing, for the most part, they'll keep the same perks. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
it's stale for survivors
Yeah.
because okay, we're getting the same people. And I think someone else, who was it? I don't know if it was Aaron or JRM, who was talking about because of the servers they play on,
Mm,
they
yeah.
get stuck with the same pool of people, and it's not fun for them because again, you recognize play styles, and that's kind of how it is. Like when you're stuck in that MMR, sometimes I'm like, oh please, like I just want to have one match where I can chill a little bit, have a little back and forth with the killer,
Right.
and then maybe get out, maybe touch a door. Like, it's a lot. Like, and I don't know what they're going to do to fix it. There have been people in the community that have, you can Google, well, not Google, go on like YouTube and stuff like that and see what they've talked about in regards to how to make MMR better. I'm sure Otz has done a video. He's done videos for everything. I believe Scott has mentioned some stuff that he thinks he would do, but there has to be something other than just killing or escaping because that's not equivalent. That's so minor when it comes to all of the gameplay in a
Mm.
match.
The gameplay's
That
so complex.
it's so complex. Like,
Uh,
eh, I mean, we've had matches before where, again, where maybe one person died, the self-sacrifice person, just to make sure everyone gets out. But hey, that person did a Jin chase at the same time, was able to like get somebody off the hook. Like they were
mhm.
just like Superman in the match. But the fact that that's counted as a loss for them is crazy. They had the
Mhm.
most interaction with the killer, right? They kept the killer busy. That's the only reason anyone's getting out. I sometimes feel like it has less to do with Jins and more to do with altruism and your interactions with the killers.
Mhm.
Because if people aren't interacting with the killer, then everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
someone has to keep the killer busy. We've had plenty of matches where if it's not somebody, then it just comes to the killer just kicking gens, running off, kicking gens until they can get
Mhm.
someone down or tunnel somebody out. Um, I guess it also has to do with control because if you think about it, in each map, it's kind of like who are we going to give the control to? You give the control to the killer, then they're going to dictate how everything happens. If survivors take control, then you at least have the opportunity to one, keep them busy, figure out where you're going to run them, and a lot of this is easier said if you're in a Swift and obviously you can communicate. But we've had good matches even with randos where they understood this concept of controlling the map, right? Which is a skill.
Mhm.
Like, but none of
Facts.
that is accounted for. I'm sorry, but if I play a whole match and let's say it goes like 30 minutes and we end up getting 3 men out and I die, that's a win for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
But it doesn't look at
Be-
that. Again, it doesn't look
but
at
it doesn't look at
teamwork.
that.
And it's
Yeah.
so weird as because you're supposed to work as a team. And I really wish they would incentivize working as a team more because we definitely have had
Yes.
matches where we've
Oh
had
yeah.
randos that are like in it for themselves. And gosh, I even remember a match way, way back when I first started playing this game. I think it was just after Ghostface came out because it was against a Ghosty. And I mean, it wasn't a terrible match, but I ended up dying because this rando survivor would not come rescue, would not like, he would not heal anyone. And he was all like, oh, it's all about me getting out. Like, that's what he said at the end was
Mm.
like, all I care is about getting myself out. So basically, they would sacrifice all their team or not help their team and just go for Hatch. And I'm like, if the MMR system was set up differently and punished that, or would reward you more if you got teammates out, like if your MMR went up, if so many people got out,
Yeah.
or you got a bonus. I don't, just something to incentivize, like work as a team. And I mean, they're trying to put little changes in there for solo queue. Like we have the icons now for if you're doing a gen or healing, which helps. But like we still have tons of matches where we have randos playing like Kindred. Like Kindred is still super popular, even with the new icons. Yeah, I wish you were rewarded as a team more or got some bonus points or something for teamwork. And even if you sacrificed yourself for the team, but I don't know if it's that the game, well, you did talk about the game can recognize like how many trace seconds and stuff. I don't know if it can recognize like you sacrificing yourself for the team
Or even just
or
like how many people survive because you died.
yeah, like if you're still select on the ground and like 3 people escape, well, that should be
Yeah.
like some bonus points because obviously you went down because you got like the unhook in the end game
Yeah.
and the killer was there, obviously. So you
Also,
Yeah,
made
that
you made
sometimes
sure.
it's hard because the way we've been playing the queues lately is a lot of times we're playing people disconnecting, or we did have a recent game where the survivor started to go along with the killer and showed him where I was, and then the killer ended up tunneling me out.
Which is
Um,
reportable, by the way. Don't do that,
which,
y'all.
yeah,
Oh.
but it was so quick. I think so we load into the map, and the survivor's like, come with me, and following me around, which I don't like. I'm sorry, don't follow me around. Like,
You better
so
prove thyself if
I
you like.
ignored them and went to do my thing that I normally do, and they ended up starting to be tunneled out. So I went after rescue and followed after them, took a hit, took the killer, went down, got a hook so they can go off and be, healed and stuff. And then before I know it, they're showing the killer around the map where I am. The killer actually ended up hooking them too.
They couldn't
But
find
I
me.
was like,
I left.
yeah.
They were trying to find
But
me.
when they DC on first hook, when they go with the killer and they start hunting down survivors, like that stuff ruins the gameplay too, and that affects MMR
Hmm.
because it's like you're lost, but the only reason I lost is because this person literally brought the killer to me and was pointing at me
Well, that
and
Yeah.
letting
and
them know where I was.
well, that and
Like,
people that just want out of the game, so they don't like
mhm,
DC, so they either stay under the hook or they run to the killer and go down again, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the other scenario too. So basically, that just hurts your chances of like getting
Surviving.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't like once someone, basically gets themselves out of the game. DC, killing on hook, whatever. The game's kind of lost, especially at the beginning. Like I don't know what it
At
is, and
5 gens, yeah.
it's always the P100s too that do this. I find
Gotta
that
find
like
P100s.
that kill themselves on like first hook, and I have learned not to unhook if they kill themselves because I have gotten like sandbagged by people. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're not killing yourself. I've unhooked them. They'll like throw pallets and they'll sandbag you for rescuing them because I guess they really didn't want to be in this game, but apparently, but I don't know why because some part of them opened the game and
Yeah,
queued
and
up
logged in.
and logged
It's like
in,
they just
queued
didn't
up
want to
like
go down first. I mean, it happens. But you're P100. Why did you go down the first 30 seconds of the gameplay? Like, and to me that also means you had to actively go out and at least make yourself known with
yeah.
scratch marks, or you actively went out to try to find the killer and then just were upset that you got hooked. But again, you're ruining the game, so that's affecting our MMR, right?
Well, I feel
Mhm.
like
Um,
P100 is kind of like the old red rank. Like
mhm,
P100 just means you put all your blood points into a certain character. It doesn't
mhm.
really mean you're
That you play
skilled.
well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Crazy MMR world we live in.
Which I was gonna say, we don't know like what the game can like. I guess not see, but like we know. Oh, you can do 180 seconds of co-op, or you open the exit gate. But it's like, are they able to track that as for MMR, or is it just like we can literally know if you escaped or not, or if you died or not, and that's as far as our
Well,
technology goes?
the emblem, no, because we still have the emblem system. The emblem
Yeah, the
system
Emblem
Oh,
still
that's
System.
in
true,
the
right?
game,
Okay.
and that determines because so there's still rank, right? And you get the blood points
Hmm.
for rank reset. That's all rank and emblem system is for now is your blood points when it resets.
Right, right.
So it
Okay.
still keeps track of all of that. And I mean, the argument was back in the day was it wasn't super accurate, or people like there was the argument also for chase, like if you chase the killer for 3 generations, you get some objective
Yeah,
for
yeah.
points for that. So there was like a lot of debate about how accurate the system was, but so yes, it still tracks all of that, and I think we can. I feel like we're getting a little bit more insight into what they can track too, with the stats they've started posting. They've started
Oh
posting more
yeah.
stats, like they were posting stats about like the escapes of like solo, duos, trios. So they're keeping track of stuff. They just didn't develop an MMR system that like could compute all of the things happening in the match, because I and part of me can understand why, because there's so many different decisions and choices players can make in the game
Yeah.
that like I don't know if the game could interpret like me going down for you so you can like get
Mhm.
out. I don't know if the game, what it looks at, can interpret why players are making certain decisions, right? So I think that's part of the problem, but it does keep track of how many chases you lose, with the killer,
Mhm.
and
Even
like
proximity, because that's the whole
proxy.
point of the Vader emblem,
Mm-hmm.
is it knows it being in the killer's
Mm-hmm.
proximity without initiating. I tend to have high invader because I'm around there, they just can't find me. Or I tend to lose chase with how I play. So it's rewarding you for that. So it should know that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Queen was in and out of chase for, I don't know, like a minute and 20 seconds. During that time, 2 gens popped.
Mm-hmm.
You should be getting credit for stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it's tracking
Yeah.
it because it's got the emblems. But how on the back end it works, again, I don't know how complicated. I'm not a coder.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that
Same.
if you're tracking these little things, then these should also be going towards us getting credit for MMR and less having to do with did you escape or not? Because that, to me, like, depending on how the game goes, sometimes I feel like I won if I get 1 gen done.
Yeah, we have those matches where it's
We
like
had those
the
matches where
last
it's
two of
just get
us,
the
and it's
1 gen
like
done.
if you get that gen, we win, right? Like,
Or
Yeah, right? We
even
win, right? We get that stun, we
yeah.
win.
Or
He only
even if
gets one of us,
you
we win.
get your rift that you're working on done or
mm-hmm.
your
Exactly.
daily. I count those as wins sometimes
Yeah.
because it's like fine, I did what I needed to do. Like whatever.
You had an extra task and you did that
Yeah.
while trying to
Yeah.
do everything else. That should count towards your success. It's not all about escaping or killing, because you can have an amazing match and then maybe just hook everybody and they all get out. But still, you hooked everybody,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's
You
a whole
got
other
all your
debate.
hooks. Yeah. I don't vibe with the, kills equals skills, because you have plenty of times where you're just, I'm sorry, if you're just tunneling people out, I
Yeah.
know people are like, it's a valid gameplay. You get the least amount of points for doing that. The
Yeah.
least amount of
Mm-hmm.
points if you just tunnel people out. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had tunnels. Maybe the game was less than 5 minutes. We were all like tunneled out, super sweaty, and like even we have more. We're sitting in the 15,000 points, and the killer has like 7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't get rewarded blood point wise for that. You get
Mm-mm.
rewarded blood point wise for the more you do. So I don't understand why it's like contradictory. Like, we're going to give you all these blood points for all the different objectives that you've done and emblems you've earned. But at the end of the day, MMR wise, even though you get more blood points for doing more and interacting more, it all depends on whether you escaped or not, or whether you killed or not. Doesn't make sense. It's backwards.
Yeah, definitely for killer is backwards,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because it does reward MMR rewards tunneling, because
Mm-hmm.
also the shorter the match too, match length. If the match is shorter, you're gonna get rewarded more.
What I'm
Uh,
learning is that for the first 10 minutes, we're just going to hide.
Yeah, right?
Then we start playing.
it's okay. Next time we ever get a skull merchant, I'm dragging that match out for an hour.
We have had like 45-minute Skull Merchant matches
Right? Let's
where
ruin it.
I felt like we won.
I'm
We
like,
broke
you
broke
chose
the
this killer.
3 gen. Yeah.
This
You
was your
chose this
choice.
play style. You did this to yourself.
Okay. Do we have any
Crazy.
other? We talked a lot about MMR and other little sidetrack things, but it was all good.
No, it
But
worked out.
hopefully this was educational too, with how the MMR system works and the emblem system, because again, emblem system's still in, and this is how you like pip up and
Mhm.
get your
Yeah.
rank up and get those, juicy blood points every rank reset. Because the emblems is always something I've had to like look up and remind myself of
Mhm.
like,
Same.
and then like in the Rift, there's usually like
Get like
challenges for like you
Lightbringer
need,
emblems. Yeah.
yeah, you need so many iridescence, but also like you need to get like, yeah, like you said, Lightbringer, Evader, whatever emblems. And then usually that's when I have to look it up and be like, which one is that? So hopefully it was a little educational on the emblems and what they do, MMR, and that you just need to leave your teammates behind and escape and
Oh.
rank up. Or die if you don't want to rank up on MMR. It is your
Yeah.
choice, I guess, if you don't want to have sweaty
But at the end of the
matches.
day, no matter what, once you get your MMR rank, you're stuck there.
You're kind of
Yeah.
stuck there. I am curious if between the low and the, I don't know, or if you can get like back to medium from high. I don't
From
know.
everything I've seen, it's pretty much no.
It's
It's
like it
kind of
seems
like
like
you're
it's a no,
stuck in that pool that you're at.
but I feel like everyone would eventually get to high at some point. I mean, I don't know, but we play quite a
You
bit.
would
I play quite a
think
bit.
so.
But maybe the more casual players, the people that just play it like once or twice a week,
Yeah.
after work, are probably in that low skill level of the 900 to 1200 because they don't play it a lot, right? So
I
we
feel
just
like
may
for
play
us
it too
though,
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
right.
like we're stuck
I
collectively because we also Swift together, if that's a part of it.
I'm
I feel
sorry,
like
it's
we're,
me.
how dare you? No, but I feel like even when I played by myself and even I played with people who are babies and haven't been playing for long, they're like, why is this killer like this? I'm like, I'm sorry, it's me. I'm the problem. I feel like we're just kind of stuck where we're at. It'd be, what would be really nice is if there was a way for you to self reset.
Ooh.
If there was like a button you could go and press, and hey, this is not novel. This is not a new idea. And a lot of games I play, there's a button for you to start over.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to reset everything, in life we have it. If you want to be a weirdo and reset your phone back to
Mhm.
your original stuff, you can, but it'd be nice if there was like a button. So if you truly want to play casual, if you start to get up in a sweaty, be like, put me back down to baby rank. Click it, and then you're like total reset in the game and you start out.
Mm-hmm.
That would also help with other issues where people are like creating accounts to act like they're little babies and then running rings, or
Oh.
content creators when they're trying to do challenges and stuff like that. Like that would be interesting. Like if there was a way to say like, hey, reset my MMR, put me back down. Like I don't want to be up there. And then the people who truly wanted to be up there could just be up there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas like once we start getting the sweaty matches, we can be like, ah, no, let's go back to being baby.
Well, this has
Yeah.
also kind of been brought up with the casual versus ranked
Yeah.
modes, like, and with people just abuse and go into the casual and act all competitive. And I mean, there's no way to stop people, right? But that kind of goes along the same lines of that discussion that's been the topic of why isn't there just two modes? And back, I don't feel like this is a recent argument. I think back when they first put in MMR, there was talk about this, and they were like, Behavior was not sure they had a big enough player base to handle two queues. And also, they didn't, until recently with these new modes, develop on the menu screen to have another queue.
Mhm.
I think was
Yeah.
the other thing. That is something they recently did, was to have a different queue for a different mode. I think we're just stuck. I think we're going to be stuck with just some fun game modes coming out. If you want other fun game modes, apparently DVD Mobile has all the fun game modes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't look up all of them. I know there's one about not stepping in traps. There's emotes
Mhm.
in mobile too. So like it's Fortnite and TBD Mobile.
It looked fun. It was
They're having
chaotic and
all the fun.
crazy, and I was like, I want it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a kid like looking in and like the glass on like the toy store and
Right?
be like, everyone looks like they're having so much fun in there.
Yeah. But a reminder, DVD Mobile is developed by
It's
NetEase, I
different.
believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not core behavior, so that's why it doesn't come over to the main game. So maybe eventually they are bringing some of the cosmetics over from
Mhm.
mobile to the main game. So maybe if they see like that the mobile stuff is doing well, they will bring it over. But yeah, they added a bunch of new game modes for mobile. Mobile seems really chill and relaxed. Maybe go try mobile. I just
There you
hate
go.
playing it on my phone. It's just
I
like itty
know,
bitty
it's
screen.
hard.
Is there any other thoughts on MMR?
Mm,
I think we've covered
No, I feel like we covered a lot of
it
it.
plus more.
yeah. I feel like hopefully this was educational,
Yeah, I
as
Mhm.
my
bet.
old economics professor used to say
Educational.
back in the day in college. In regards to how it works, there's been a lot of discussion, so I wouldn't be surprised if people have been hearing stuff about MMR. It's been a hot topic as of recently, so hopefully, like the history of it, how it used to be, how it is now, how everything works,
I know. I feel like
will
going like
enlighten you.
I know. I feel like going back in my day. MMR was the
Back in the
emblem
day.
system.
Back in my day.
You were just trying to get up to red rank. That's also why now, if you hear people talking about red rank, it used to be trying to get up to red rank. There's
Yeah,
even
that was
a,
the big deal
yeah,
about Red Rank.
everything was red rank.
And that's
But
also why they were like hiding ranks and prestiges and stuff. Like I
Yeah.
think recently to try to because
it's so funny.
when you're in a lobby, you do judge like, oh, this is a P100, and it was kind of
That's
like how that
true.
was back before the new MMR with the ranks. It's like, okay, this is a red rank. It's probably someone really good. So
When they did do the hiding, it was always funny. Like when they established that the first time, like Mocking couldn't see him, like it was actually hidden on her stuff. Christine and I was able to see it the whole time.
I know, we're just like,
Like
oh
we
hey.
said, I don't know. That's a tech issue too. Like the updates that come through, like not everyone gets. Like
yeah, because it was also the perk icons on the right
yeah,
side when they
still don't
added
have
that,
that.
Yeah.
so you could like see real quick what your loadout was on a character.
I never had that. I was
Yeah, we
very
never
I
have
upset.
it
have
to
it.
this day.
Apparently, I
We were
have
still
the good
able to
internet.
see, yeah, we were still able to see the ranks and everything of everybody. And that's also just part of the inconsistency. If you're going to do something, do it across the board. Like, I have no idea why Morbid and I never got that, but it kind of went against the point of them doing what they were doing. But let's hope that they'll have people that understand the mechanics of the game and they make MMR better because I
Hmm.
think it's much needed. And I think that a lot of the disconnecting and stuff like that too is just people being frustrated
Yeah.
when they're stuck in the exact same match over and over and over again because we're locked in.
Hmm.
Like I do kind of miss the days where I had to work my way up, and if I didn't feel like working my way up, I could comfortably sit in an area to have like a chill time if I didn't want to move up to like red rank or something.
Yeah.
But now you really don't have that. You're kind of just locked in and there's no going back. You're stuck
I
in the
know, it's
spiral.
forever.
You know what I'd love for them to do? I think I brought this up before in another episode. I would love for them to turn off MMR for like a weekend or something,
See what
and like,
happens.
yeah,
Ooh,
they've.
that would be fun.
Let
Hmm.
the chaos begin.
I
Just
know,
see
I
what
just keep
people
thinking of all
think.
this mass
Hey,
anarchy.
make it a game mode.
Oh, I thought of that too.
No MMR game mode. See what happens. Get
I know.
feedback. See what people like.
See if people liked it. See if people play more chill. Like no
Hmm.
MMR mode. If people just are like sit back, there's less pain res. Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna get people that like still play competitive and stuff, but overall, I think it would chill out.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with playing competitive. I personally love watching competitive gameplay. I love watching the tournaments people put on. Like, there's time and effort that goes into it and how they do it. But I will say something about people who actively play competitive. They do not use the glitches and bugs and everything that happen within the game to their advantage.
Hmm.
And they have
True.
rules about that. So, competitive players essentially, I don't know, have they're not like trying
Morals?
to, yeah, morals. I'm trying to think of the word. They're not trying to mess with the gameplay in their benefit. They're trying to make it a level playing field for everybody. That's why they have rules and restrictions.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of tournaments. Go watch them. There was even recently a sandbag tournament. It was
Hmm.
freaking hilarious to
Ooh.
watch. A lot of time and effort that like Hens and JRM and Aaron and stuff they put into these tournaments. But even competitive teams that play when they have their championships and stuff like that, there's a lot of rules to level gameplay around
Hmm.
what you can and can't do. So that to me is completely separate. Like people don't need to be ragging on the competitive community because they live by their own light codes and morals, kind of as
Yeah.
Morbid
Yeah.
says. That in game they do not abuse current glitches and stuff like
Yeah.
that when they
Yeah,
are
for sure.
playing. So it's different than somebody coming in and paying. I think I just want to make it clear, like when we're saying competitive gameplay, we're talking about people who are purposely abusing mechanics in the game, people purposely playing sweaty for their own ends, you know, stuff like that, or the gameplay not going what you like, so you DC and you leave your teammates to clean up. Like that kind of competitive play is what we mean, separate from the actual competitive community who plays in a completely different style.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think we mean. I could have just lied this whole time.
No. I mean,
No, it sounds right.
I kind of thought about bringing up like competitive, like the
Yeah.
competitive teams and stuff, but that really goes more to talk about like if is this game balanced or not? Because in competitive tournaments, they have restrictions on the
Yeah,
perks and how many
which
you can
proves
use.
it's not
Yeah.
balanced.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Like that's been talked about. Like this game is not balanced in any way because they limit like how which perks can be used. Like usually like each player can have like one exhaustion perk, but they have to be different. Like it's usually what I've seen.
They
And I'm
limit
sure
perk
yeah.
combos, like
Yeah,
no
perk
buckle
comp.
up,
Yeah.
and what's it called?
For the people buckle
No
up.
buckle up for the people.
So
Anything that's broken.
there's lots of rules and just to show you the game's not balanced. You can't just run whatever you want and it's an equal
Yeah.
Yeah,
gameplay.
Spooky Loops. If you're interested in learning more about competitive gameplay, Spooky Loops did hang out with one of the competitive teams, and he does have a video on his channel, spending like a day with a competitive team and seeing all the
Mhm.
nuances and stuff they have. And it was funny. He was like, I felt like I was a baby player over again, even though he has thousands of hours.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very insightful in regards to how they view gameplay, which essentially we've even talked about it among us, when we're playing trios, is taking some of the stuff that the competitive team does to make the gameplay easier in regards to how they view maps and gens and how they run, how they will sacrifice a hook state to get stuff done. It's just logically
Mhm.
easier to play. We've talked about incorporating some of the stuff into our gameplay style just to make it easier on our end for how we maneuver maps and go up against certain killers. But yeah, I think that's a good, maybe we'll do, like, if you guys want like a whole podcast on competitive gameplay, I'm sure that's something we would love to do in regards to the differences. They get rid of a lot in order to try to equalize the playing field, which is something that, hey, maybe behavior should listen to,
Right.
because your competitive players are telling you inherently mechanics that are not working for gameplay to make it equal across the board.
Yep.
But yes, thank you for coming to my competitive gameplay TED Talk.
That's just a preview. This preview.
I loved it. It was great.
I've been sucked into it. I've been watching like all the tournaments and everything. I find it fascinating, and it's so fun to watch the games.
Oh
Now
yeah, it
they
is.
do have, like, they do allow certain things like tunneling, but the game's not like a sweat match in regards to their objectives they have for the
Yeah.
game, because it's all based on the point system. But it's extremely interesting to watch gameplay. So Google it, watch some competitive matches. So because I feel like they're getting a bad rap right now when people talk about MMR, they're like, it's all competitive, but we're not. The
That's kind of
term is being
yeah.
used in two different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess that's
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
guess like we'll do our closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say we hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and bye.
Bye.